drinking that healing, sinking in this feeling. Will you be the time, giving me the signs of life? Making you are clear, but you're gonna leave me in the deep.
nation. It ain't fair, but I feel like we're the nations. Raise the flag and do the preparation. Welcome to reality, there's no way back. Welcome to reality. Can't fuck with that. It's okay to be on top like forever, man. This is hard fucking beeping after aliens. We on top of the world, we the sapiens. Do you understand massive complication there? Do you really think you know what I'm made of? My flow is so magical, I'm old, call me Gandalf. You can shine, but I'm about to go off. Heard me wanna believe what I'm saying, but I cannot do this at all. Welcome to reality, there's no way back. 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 Welcome to reality, there's no way back.
Humans, what have you learned? I was programmed to beat you. The same mistakes. I was programmed to beat you.
You're pulling on my walls down. I've never been exposed like this before. I'm good at shutting you out. I've always had a way of keeping closed. Beating, hiding, I've been calling out your name from the darkness, thinking it's too late. If you're finding I've been too much on your plate, I'll keep hiding, calling out your name, calling out your name, calling out your name, calling out your name, calling out your name. Beating, hiding, I've been calling out your name from the darkness, thinking it's too late. If you're faded, I've been too much on your plate, I'll keep hiding, calling out your name, calling out your name, calling out your name. Tell me how you're feeling since you got me out in the open. Now I'm ready to dive in. I know you told you it would be a slow burn. Beating, hiding, I've been calling out your name from the darkness, thinking it's too late. If you're finding I've been too much on your plate, I'll keep hiding, calling out your name, calling out your name, calling out
Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We are once again back here, the LSC Amateur League, week 5, split 7. This time round, I will be here with Savonix to the left of the screen here, and I am Domain. How are we doing, Savonix?
Oh, I'm so fantastic. We've got a powerhouse matchup here today. Eternal Blizzard up against Vitagen. Now, for those who know, those who have stuck around the SLE community know that these are two of the long-standing organizations throughout the history of the SLE. Of course, Vitagen have titles in their trophy cabinet, whereas Eternal Blizzard still on the desire to claim one for themselves, and it's a very interesting matchup here today. Obviously, Vitagen, they went through a bit of a roster rerun. They came back with the intention of not actually fielding a team this split, and they have managed to put together a group of 5, and they face up against Eternal Blizzard, deemed as the super team of this season. And I'm excited to see the matchup go. Do you have any a particular focus you want to go on in terms of the player-player matchups?
Well, I'm definitely intrigued about this matchup between the two because I've been hearing a lot about it. There's been a lot of hyping up until now. Like you say, the champions battle is now upon us, right? These two teams have been going at it for a while, and I've been hearing there's a lot of pick and ban priorities. The Seraphine is something that has come across, and I've been hearing that a certain support is really good on that champion.
Yeah.
So we are looking at, of course, now, is it Ant or is it El Rat?
So, it's actually neither of those two that are the
Sorry,
Seraphine
ADC.
enjoys. Exactly, it is in
that's
the
it.
AD carry. So, for those who don't know, Jomi, Seraphine, it is legendary. It is
Yeah,
a
I'm
tale of
excited.
myths in the SLE. It's something that people talk about, you hear about it, and you have seen it as well, and to a successful degree. So, I wouldn't be surprised if that gets banned off straight away, but we'll have to see. We're into the pick and bans already. My
Indeed.
particular focus is actually in the jungle matchup. This is Jonathan Isaac versus Dutch. There is sort of like this conversation in the SLE, not like this split specifically, but just throughout its time. There's been 3 junglers. That's Jonathan Isaac and Dutch, who we will see today, and JL, who's not playing today, but we'll focus on the 2. Jonathan Isaac and Dutch are the 2 of the 3 that are just always contested as the top 3 junglers in every split that's ever existed. So I'm excited to see these 2 face up against each other today.
Certainly. So we already got, speaking of the ADC side of things, the Jhin has been locked in and the Seraphine taken away. So Jomi is going to be instead swiftly picking up himself that Jhin up in that blue side. Syndra is already locked in by the looks of it. Obviously, we've got that Udyr, that Xin on that side. On the side of VTG, already banned away. EB decided to go with the Swain. The Ivern. Ivern, I've heard, is going to be a high priority pick as well. Between the 2 junglers, actually, they're going to be looking to... They both play it, so it's a potential that we might see it if it gets through the bans here.
Yeah, so Ivan's a really strong champion in the current meta as well, 40.19. It is essentially a durability patch, and champions like Ivan kind of thrive in these long-lasting team fights. The sustain, the shielding, the utility that Ivan can provide. You do want to take that away. Of course, if you had in mind that you're going to first pick that Jhin, taking away something that counters the Jhin definitely does make sense. They're going to pair that Jhin. So it's actually Barack Obama that plays for Eternal Blizzard, not Jomi. Jomi is on Vitagen's side, so it's Barack Obama that's going to be on the Jhin. Not Jesse today. Jesse's their usual AD carry, but we'll have to feel the sub. So they pair the Jhin, and there's the Orianna lock-in. I was just going to say, right now in the
matching
patch,
their Syndra.
Yeah, Syndra, Orianna, the 2 strongest mid laners in the game right now, and we're going to see them both in this feature.
The control mages in general have been living that high life in League of Legends for quite a few months right now, actually. Ever since the item changes, even more so maybe, but before that, with the recently added new item, the control mages definitely have been going up in that priority here in the meta. Are we going to get that Kai'Sa locked in to finish us off for a potential? Yes, we are. After the second ban stage here. Now, we are looking at a top lane. We are looking at a jungle ban. And I don't quite know where that Poppy's going to go quite yet. It is a bit of a flex pick currently.
Yeah, we're not too sure. I'm assuming that's why they picked the Poppy this early because I'm kind of seeing none of these champions really care about Poppy at the current moment in time. So Poppy's a bit of a weird pick, I have to say. Usually this is a champion that thrives in a reactive situation where you see the enemy team comp have drafted like a Rel or an Aurelia or something. That's why Poppy has such high value. But none of these champions, I mean, Leona Zenith Blade, I guess you can stop that, but you can't stop the Solar Flare, you can't stop the point and click stun. So the Poppy value at the moment, very, very low. Where its value is the fact that it can be flexed into top jungle and support. But we'll have to see, of course. I'm sure Vitagen will be able to manufacture some sort of plan going into this one. But so far, I am favoring Eternal Blizzard off the first 3 rotations just because they have picked champions that are very strong in the meta right now.
So far, right, we are looking at potential 2 top laners and 2 junglers here. I'm going to say, oh, I would love to see an Aatrox. I will not see, I have not out, and it's locked in, ladies and gents. This might be the gassed I have been to be casting a tournament. Yet to this day, I'm an Aatrox OTP. I love the champion. We will see what happens here as Balthazar has locked it in for the side of Vitagen. Now, I am really excited to see what will be picked against it. Irelia is something that is open. Yorick is a potential counter pick as well. Fiora is up for the grabs. Things like that are always interesting to be seen. We'll see what happens there. As I can't see exactly what's happening. I'm not too sure. We're going to have to... the Malphite. Okay, so Malphite into Aatrox. I will speak very briefly. It's a very safe pick for the Malphite. It postpones the Aatrox's power spike. It does not let him snowball the lane as hard as it could into matchups that like to trade, like a Fiora, for instance. Like Fiora is very aggressive, Gragas. It's a skill matchup. But with a Malphite, he presses that Q. If he gets that Bramble early game as well, he gets to ult away if he's in trouble, things like that. So Aatrox is probably going to have to look for a quick kill onto the Malphite before he hits level 6. If he doesn't, snowballing might be trouble.
Yeah, I mean, what's interesting about Vitagen's setup is last week, I think we saw Captain in the top lane and Balthazar in the mid lane. For those historians out there, we all know Captain one of the historic players, individuals of the SLE, peaked at around 300-ish LP Master before... after he became an SLE champion, went away to play in a bunch of different leagues. He's got experience against NLC teams, and he's come back because of a certain drop in Elo. I think he was kind of Emerald for like, it's really weird. Like I haven't. No offense. He's one of my boys. He's one of my boys. No offense. He's one of my boys, but no offense. I haven't seen.
Sometimes there's a rough match, and you have to get through it, right?
Yeah, I haven't seen a drop that much. But what it has done is it's allowed him back into the SLE. So I do know his Aatrox is incredible, and they are up against Benjamin, who is a weak side player. So maybe they had that prepared. And yeah, we see the 2 jungle picks locked in, so we know that Poppy is going into support. I do also see some random pop-ups of other champions. But
there's a Cho'Gath? Where did that come from?
What do you think of the compositions? Because from my perspective, I'm seeing Eternal Blizzard. It's really straightforward. This isn't complicated. Whereas the side of Vitagen, it has its strengths, but it looks a bit more difficult to play.
I honestly feel like Eternal Blizzard is here to buy time. They're buying time, they're scaling, they're waiting, they're picking up what they can, where they can in the early to mid game. However, in the mid to late game is really where Eternal Blizzard will shine here. Whereas on the side of VTG, we are going to be seeing a lot of potential picks. Wukong loves a level 6 gank. That level 6 2 ultimate gank can shred any single HP bar at that point in the game. Aatrox obviously looking for a snowball, like I've mentioned before. Kai'Sa, Syndra, pretty much same old. So we'll see what happens here. I think playing for the late game or playing for the mid game, either side of the teams, we'll see which one is going to come out on top. That is the question.
It's very, very difficult to call right now. I think if I was to put a vote onto one of these 2 rosters, I'm probably gonna put my vote on Eternal Blizzard. I think
Mm.
whilst there is that conversation around the junglers of, you know, the three JI, JL, and Dutch being the three that contest each other every split, I think Jonathan Isaac has had a resurgence like no other. JL and Dutch have always been the mainstays. They've always been the solid players in that role of the SLE. Whereas in recent times, Jonathan Isaac arguably has just had an edge over the two. Something about him, it's a star factor. It's something that I can't really put into words other than the
The
fact that
jungle diff, right?
yeah, I mean, it's not necessarily diff. It's just everything goes through this player for Eternal Blizzard. Like, I think it's my view on this team, and this is no disrespect to the other players, but it's like take Jonathan Isaac out this roster, and this team don't make playoffs. That's just my opinion. But because he's there, because he's there, that is a top 2 roster, and that just speaks volume as to how good he has been performing recently.
Looking into that, actually, that's just speaking of on the junglers. On the other side, we got Dutch, right? And which, by the way, we got 2 Dutches here. It's the game of the Dutches as we speak. 2 junglers, but they both have been rated as the top 3 people in their tier list. So I have not yet had the pleasure to cast either of these teams or the players, but from just looking at the perspective of looking at it from paper, this looks to be quite a good contesting from either side. So is Jonathan going to be able to come through and reign supreme as you have so gloriously been able to sort of describe him, or is that going to be able to match him on the jungle here? We'll see. We'll find out as we got 1 in the Wukong, 1 on the Kindred, a lot of AD burst on both of these champions here. Some AP coming out from the Orianna, obviously most of it. Malphite, it's gonna be difficult actually to react to that Malphite ultimate. Kai'Sa has a potential to dodge it, but I don't think Syndra has much apart from a flash.
Yeah, I mean, I think the jungle, like you mentioned, it's going to be eyes focus on them. But when it comes to the conversation between these two in this particular game, I think you have to take into account who is around that player. And I'm taking a look at Rain D in the mid lane for Jonathan Isaac. I don't think there is a better mid laner in the entire league that works better with Jonathan Isaac. I think Rain D, as a player, he's not going to do the most exciting things. Is he the most aggressive mid laner? No, he's not. But he's reliable and he's safe. He won't cause any risky situations. And a player like Jonathan Isaac, who's as explosive as he is, relies on a mid laner who's going to be stable. And that's exactly what Rain D is. Whereas on the other side, I don't think I can say the same thing for the Vitagen mid laner, or even the top laner, the solo laners of Vitagen, I think, don't have that aspect of reliability that Rain D has. And I think that's really important when conversing about the jungle role.
Right, so Balthazar as well as Captain on the side of Vitagen here, you're thinking they're a little bit more passive. They look for the smart plays. They don't look for to be.
So no, I think the solo laners of Vitagen, they're not as reliable as Rain D. I think Rain D very, very passive as a mid laner.
Right,
I see. Yeah. I think Captain and Balthazar are actually the complete opposite of passive. But also,
love to see it.
And what that comes with is the element of risk, right? And that's the thing. It's like, I think Jonathan.
High risk, higher reward, right? Exactly. That's pretty much my style of gameplay, especially like in the laning phase. I like to be quite aggressive. And speaking of aggressiveness, we're gonna see. Are we gonna see a nice bot lane here? We're looking at a Poppy. She does have a very good way of counteracting that Leona E, right? So that's something that Leona might struggle in terms of just getting in there, locking down that Kai'Sa with the Q, the Tempest Flare and everything. So that's got to be something that we're going to be looking out for. But Jhin and the movement speed around his auto attacks is going to be a bit hard for the Poppy to maybe reach as well. Yeah. Potentially. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. The interesting thing about Jhin is, like, if you see it pick that early, you'll often respond with it with a lot of frontline. A lot of beefiness. That's what Jhin struggles against, a lot of tanks. However, Vitagen, they haven't necessarily drafted any tanks. I think Poppy, maybe you could argue as one, but in the support role does run Hail of Blades into like a bruiser item first. So I'm looking across the board, I'm like, I don't think the early Jhin pick has been punished in terms of responding with beefy units. I think definitely the likes of an Aatrox can sustain through the Jhin burst, but I mean, if you pair that with the Leona Malphite CC and the Orianna Shockwave,
Oh my, yeah.
yeah, that's where it gets difficult. And where I see
Yeah.
Vitagen's composition struggling, right, is there's a Malphite ultimate, then there's the Orianna ultimate, then there's the Leona ultimate, and then Kindred can use his ultimate to keep everyone alive if you try to respond with any burst. And so there's a death ball with Eternal Blizzard, and so Vitagen, they need to make sure they get out of the laning phase ahead, otherwise this death ball is just going to run them over.
Yeah, for sure. And just a quick update for everybody that's watching right now. Hi, welcome. If you've just joined us, we've just finished up the draft pick here. I've just heard the background noises that we don't get to see on the screen. The teams have locked everything in. We should be heading into the game very shortly now. With that said, I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued to see. This is a best of 2. Just to put that disclaimer out there, this could end up in a draw or a 2-0 run for either of the teams. We'll see how it goes, as we are now getting ourselves into the first game of this best of 2 between Eternal Blizzard and versus Vitagen. Already on the Summoner's Rift here, ladies and gents. Let us see what both of these teams have been cooking.
Yeah, loaded onto a Rift. You can see Vitagen already posturing for that early level 1 invade. And we'll see if Elrite gets caught here.
We're looking like they are 5-man pressure down in the bot lane. They're not going to be reacting on the side of EB too much. Just going to step away and then let them be as menacing as they want. Instead, some vision is being put down already with no contesting in the top side and the bot lane here as well.
Yeah, just the trade of vision. What's actually quite curious to see is where Jonathan Isaac is going to start, because obviously that ward onto that red buff, if they spot Jonathan Isaac, that means he's going from bottom to top. If they don't, that means they 100% know that he's going from top to bot. And all this information, yeah, Dutch will be, yeah, they see where Dutch is, obviously. I think he's trying to not give too much away on where he starts.
Yeah.
All this information to just suss out where the jungler is heading towards is important for the laners to not get punished aggressively in their lanes. Yeah. So yeah, as I suspected, it is actually they have put Captain up against Benjamin and Balthazar into the mid lane. Very interesting that Vitagen have the ability to do this. I think they're probably the only SLE roster that I know have done this. And it kind of reminds me of G2 vibes in 2018, where they're just able to just put players in different roles for absolutely fun. And
the good old days, right? Just do whatever you want. Even though right now in Worlds there's some crazy shenanigans going on with people just starting top lane and laning against absolutely nobody. Like, right? Yeah. We'll see. I really like that mind game that the Wukong here, the Dutch did. He was hovering about that ward. He knew there was a ward in there, and instead what he did, he just stepped around in that bush very late into the game. That was about 1 minute 15 seconds into the game, and they saw him. So then he ran straight away to that blast cone, right to that blue buff. Got him there very soon, so it's a little bit confusing probably for the side of Eternal Blizzard as to where this Wukong has really started.
Yeah, I mean, the information might be there. We don't know. Obviously, we can't get an insight into the communication, but already in the mid lane, Orianna getting priority on the Syndra. This matchup has been described in recent times as a bit of a skill matchup. And
yeah, I'm going for those trades here. Nice little disengage on the scatter the weak.
Probably no happen.
But top side, the Eternal is hitting the W. Benjamin's getting very low here. He's going to have to respect this going into this, because the level 4 Aatrox, the level 2 on the Q on Aatrox, does so much. The flash is going in. It's not going to stun. Rain just gets to walk away with that one.
Okay, I mean, it was a nice try onto that mid lane gank. I don't even think that would have resulted in a kill had the stun even hit, but I mean, early pressure onto the mid lane. What was nice about this was it bought space for Balthazar to get a recall off, but now Benjamin does need to be careful because there is a slow pushing wave. There's 3 people here. He's got no mana and he's half HP. I imagine I'm kind of sniffing a potential first blood here.
Yeah, no, potentially could be happening. The W does hit. The second Q also is secure. There's a lot of damage is going to come through. The Wukong flashes. This is the red buff. No, not a moment. No red buff needed there as the Poppy gets that kill secured, baby.
Yeah, and the targets are set. Vitagen have made the game plan clear. Let's punish Benjamin, the weak point of this Eternal Blizzard roster. And they get that first blood already. Unfortunately, it does go into the hands of Ant, but a first blood nonetheless, and it's going to buy some time. Look at that CS lead. That captain has already built up, and this is going to get worse over time as the Aatrox gets more items in. And a great start from Vitagen. I love the game plan here.
Beautiful.
It's working really, really well. Putting Captain and firstly up against Benjamin is genius. Is the low elo player of this team. And Captain and such a historic top laner, and it's a beautiful matchup that they've kind of strategized here.
Nice little sidestep there on Ant as he now is back in the bot lane here, finds himself together with his duo partner. And very good first blood. 400 gold going over to the Poppy, which actually is not going to be that bad, right? Realistically, a Poppy is still able to dish out quite a lot of damage. As well as, be quite a good beefy frontliner for the side of Vitagen. So we'll see how it goes as a quick gank here from Wukong is looking, it's fishing, it's not going to find anything. However, Leona is looking at a very low HP here at 5 minutes into this lane.
Yeah, decent gank, just some pressure down, no summoners blown for now. Wukong, not the best early game ganker without the Cyclone, so I'm assuming Dutch was just trying to open some space for the bot side of Vitagen. He's going to go back to doing his clear. Interesting thing, obviously, is Dutch has been making some action happening in the lanes, but look at that CS lead that the Kindred already has, 40 CS. He's got more farm than some of the laners as the jungler, so keep your eyes peeled onto this Kindred to see how he can stack up. Already has one stack. I didn't quite see where exactly he got that from, but he's just going to slowly get some gold in. He does have the Sheen already in his inventory, so yeah, he might be looking to have some fighting angles at some point very soon, but so far, not too much action. A relatively quiet early game as the lanes are just kind of playing out, and understandably so. Dutch will just start this top grubbers because he's got priority out from the Aatrox. And I don't think much contest will come in from here.
No, for sure. That wave is being pushed in. Kindred is around to maybe potentially was looking for something, but that pink ward was able to stop her from thinking anything of the such. Instead, he's going to help the Orianna to shove in that mid wave, and they're going to be turning around on these grubs because they know fully well that that is something that is happening in this river. However, Aatrox is here to just dissuade them from doing that. Instead, we're going back into our lanes here.
Yeah, I think they saw that there was a bit of a numbers disadvantage there. They saw Ant kind of walking through that mid lane wave, and they knew that they couldn't contest that. The problem is right now, Kindred as a champion really wants priority, and Benjamin right now is suffering in this top lane. Look at that CS lead already, 53-34 at this point in the game. It's not looking good, and it's going to make Jonathan Isaac's job playing around that top side even more difficult, as we could look at a 2v2
We are definitely looking at one right now, as that W is going to rush in, and that ultimate, the Cyclone is coming out as well as the Darkin Blade is ready. Is the couple of auto attacks, is the reset coming in? No, Kindred is going to get away. She does have the flash, but Benjamin is looking a little bit rough here. 1Q does the job. That 2 deaths for the Rock up in the top side, as we are once again into a bit of a skirmish. Beautiful stun under the wall. Is it gonna be another follow-up kill? No, Jomi is able to face tank that, as we see Balthazar trying to reposition. Not gonna be able to. I don't think Barakagama is aware of it. Instead, we're gonna go back to farming some of this wave.
Oh god, it's an absolute train wreck from Eternal Blizzard. You'd assume you win one side of the map, or you play for one side of the map. Unfortunately, you lose it.
Oh, hold on a moment. We do have a quick 2v1 here. Is it going to be a trade? Oh, no, Barakagama was so close to getting Ant there, but not enough range. And Kaisa is going to be able to grab herself that 2 kill. And Flash! And Q is not going to be clicked. Is the Ignite going to be enough? Oh, no, the level up and the passive saves. And ooh, so unlucky for El Rat.
You know what? Sometimes it's just not your day. Sometimes nothing goes right for you. And my point was, Eternal Blizzard, they group with 2 on the top side, trying to make the play. But the level difference between the junglers meant that they lost that top side 2v2. And you'd assume, okay, we're losing top side, enemy junglers top side. Let's try win on the bottom side. But then they botched the dive. They died there. Then Barack Obama cancels an auto attack onto a 1 HP Poppy, meaning Ant survives with a slither of HP, and he has to die to the Kaiser. Elrak comes back, ignites Ant, and he dings level 6 and survives with a slither of HP again. And Vitagen right now, they're 4-0. They're so far ahead of the gold, 9 minutes into the game. And Eternal Blizzard, it's like unlucky, I guess.
Yeah.
But also, I do believe in League of Legends, you need to be in the right places to create luck. And for Vitagen, they've been in the right places, and that's why they're ahead right now.
Sure, and speaking of unlucky, this Malphite is looking like he's falling behind. Double the farm here in the bot lane. He does have a nice wave pushing it into his tower, and it doesn't look like Poppy's about this time with the Wukong. Aatrox is going to bully him a little bit, but Benjamin is going to be able to secure himself some of that much needed farm up in the top lane here. And he will be getting tankier by the minute. Poppy is, however, looking for something in the top side here. She's gonna be coming across the Kindred, which is spotting her in the end. Aatrox was deciding to back, but actually stopped it from happening as we've got the curtains. Joey's gonna be able to just get away with it by the sliver of that. Look at that. One more hit was gonna take him down.
Yeah, again, it's just caught kind of not their day. Dutch and Ant trying to look for a potential collapse. I think nothing will come of this, but yeah, I mean, Vitagen, I really do have to praise the way they've played this early game. I think they've contained Jonathan Isaac's threat very, very well. He is ahead. Balthazar might be looking
Ooh, boy. That is a nice reaction time. Wow. Now we've got Lamb's Respite ready for the Kindred here. It's gonna have to be used, and used it has, but the Poppy is there to cancel it down. Is it gonna be enough? No, it's not. 4 members on a poor Wolf, and the Lamb is gonna make sure that that kill 0-5 once again goes over to Vitagen.
I think for me, what's the craziest thing that's happening right now is the fact that Ant is moving everywhere on the map. I don't remember the last time he was laning in bot lane. He's the second jungler in this game to just contain Jonathan Isaac. And you think, all right, surely you go and punish Jomi for this. No, he's 2-0. He's literally ahead whilst being 1v2 in bot side. He hasn't died. Dive attempts have been made, but it's from the side of Jomi. Jomi have won out on those tower dives. He survived off that one with the flash, and it's all going wrong for Eternal Blizzard. And Jonathan Isaac, he is drawing 4 members to deal with these invades. And the rest of Eternal Blizzard, this is what I was talking about. The rest of the roster, like, no offense, it's just not it. And you see things like, how is he 2-0 off the back of being 1v2?
Quick engage. Not much going to become of it, but that's very true. It is a bit of an unfortunate bot lane here for the side of Eternal Blizzards because they've had so many close calls. One auto attack, one more shot from the ultimate curtain call, and it's just not enough every single time. It just doesn't do the trick. And those are the big moments that really matter for you to be able to have some sort of pressure into the mid to late game. Without those, you're slowly gonna be suffocated here, and you're gonna have a very bad time going into what looks like a very healthy Wukong and a Kaiser so far into this game.
Yeah, well, saw that on the top side. Pretty decent trade for Benjamin, forcing the recall out of captain, but he's so far ahead, I don't think he minds.
The Bramble Vest, right? It's starting to do its thing now.
It's starting to do its thing. I mean, Aatrox will get that Black Cleaver. That will help him a little bit more. I'm trying to keep my eye on the item builds. Rain D has that Mercury Treads to help deal with the Syndra. But bot side, Jonathan Isaac looking aggressive.
Oh, looking at a 3-man gank here. Wukong is about, so this could be a 3v3. I don't think Isaac knows anything about it. Dutch is looking for it. He is there. The Cyclone does get used by a good reaction there. Respecting it. Having to back away. Flash used also. And we are going to get no kills out of that little skirmish instead.
No, and I'm kind of concerned for Eternal Blizzard because if any other team in the SLE is watching this right now, download the information. Stop Jonathan Isaac from doing what he does best And look, Eternal Blizzard, they just can't do anything. What do they do? You have a passive mid laner. You have, I mean, albeit Jesse's not here, so I can't really comment too much on the bot lane. But you have Benjamin, who is literally their weak side player. And it's crumbling. Anything that they're trying to do is being shut down because they're focusing on inhibiting
very
Jonathan
aggressive
Isaac.
Kindred who has no flash here, and he's going to have to respect it. The curtain call has been called, and the Syndra does not get to move. That's another hit going on to Ant there, making him go back, and a dragon is even more likely here to be going over for the side of... Woo! What just happened up in the top lane?
My bad. I guess I'm wrong. I guess Benjamin's the best top laner in the league.
Just like that, right?
I mean, you know what? You know what? Nice CS, nice world-ending kind of vibe you got there. There's a big rock. I am rock, so you lose. Unlucky.
He's got the black cleaver. He's running two armors very early into this lane.
I do want to mention something. Like, whilst this is just one kill, and whilst I might have to stop myself here because Rain D might get ganked. So
That goes wide. Rain D is gonna walk away.
Whilst this might just be one kill in top lane, and he's still very far behind in the CS, what it's done is that, like, Aatrox has been pressuring this top side turret. It wasn't the first one to go down, which meant bot lane was the first one to go down. And now the kill score 5-2, sure, but look at that gold lead. It's basically nothing. It's not much considering how the early game has happened. And Jonathan Isaac making that play.
Let's extend that by a little bit. A quick 300 gold.
Never
do. It will do.
Yeah, but
yeah. Actually, I don't think Malphite knows Benjamin is going to get caught. And remember, there is no tower here for him to be defending himself with. He has his ultimate down. The Cyclone is being used. Jonathan is there with the Lamb's Respite just in case it needs to be used. It's not going to be. He decides to just let him go. It's sometime unlucky, and I guess the ultimate is going to be used for a potential another fight. The Malphite does have TP.
Probably not worth using it on the Malphite. I think that might have put Kindred in a bit of a risky position as well. But they might be looking for something onto the mid lane.
Essentially, Anti's here to peel for his ADC, but the Leona is zoning him beautifully. The Shockwave is apparently going to miss there. Go back to base, you, as Elrat, because of it, is going to have to respect it as well. Barako Gamma gets away with just a scatter of HP left as a curtain call is going to dissuade the entirety of VTG. Malphite is TPing in. He has his unleashed power. The force is here. Is he looking for it? Benjamin's looking very deep into that. But he's going to disengage instead. What a fight. Nothing
you know a player's goofy when the producer starts giggling. That was crazy. I mean, Benjamin, I saw what he was kind of trying to do there, looking for an ultimate. But, like, I mean, if the whole enemy team is standing in Nana, you probably wouldn't want to go for that. So, yeah, thank God he didn't. It looked like he was very close to pressing the button. If he had, he probably would have died.
He probably would have found himself between a rock and a hard place.
It would have been great content. Maybe one for the highlights for Jesse. But yeah, no, a very chaotic occurrence there. Jonathan Isaac, I think if he had a bit more damage, probably would have been able to get a kill at least. But unfortunately, he doesn't. And I'm quite curious as to how these fights are so neck and neck despite the lead that Vitagen have. And I mean, well played to EB for hanging in there. But yeah, that pick onto Poppy, I felt like Poppy should have died. I don't know how he didn't. Maybe some sort of minor miracle there, but Ant is causing a lot of problems. I think Jomi scaling really well, and I'm taking a look at this upcoming dragon in 1 minute and 50 seconds, and I'm wondering how important this is going to be. It's only second dragon for both sides, but if I know anything about the SLE is that macro doesn't really exist, and so this second dragon, people will fight for their lives over it.
And they're gonna have to.
yeah, even if it's probably a bad approach. So I'm taking a look at the vision control. Look at Vitagen's wards all over the bottom side. It's going to make the approach extremely difficult. Balthazar will just be able to sit on this mid lane, clear out waves. Rain D has been deployed to the side, but look at that wave. It's nowhere near him. And now Rain D has to spend a few minutes just walking up and down, not gaining any resources for himself. And it's a bit of an awkward dead space time. No fights breaking out for now. But I think if it does, it's going to be the focus on who can hit their ultimates better. I think Domain's turned into a robot. Should I take over? Okay, unfortunately, my co-caster has transformed into Oriana, so I'm gonna try solo this one until he's back. But yeah, it seems like some sort of fight erupted. Jonathan Isaac has to use the ultimate. I think all the ultimates from the side of Eternal Blizzard, bar Benjamin's was used. Balthazar still hanging around in that mid lane, does have teleport and half HP. No reset coming in. Jomi is able to get his. He's actually gone for the poke Kai'Sa build, so won't get activated until a little bit later on. And, well, we'll see what happens. The approach is going to be quite difficult from the side of Vitagen, considering the health bars. Ant is very low, doesn't have the Keeper's Verdict. He's going to get tagged up by the Zenith Blade. Great scatter of the week coming out from Balthazar to try and dissuade any engage onto his support. And
Oh my goodness,
back out for
I'm
now.
back.
Welcome back.
And you now. I don't know what that was, but my entire screen just be like 2 FPS sort of thing. The robot.
You do still kind of sound like a robot.
Ooh. Okay. Let me quickly reset my stuff here.
Yeah.
I
got you. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, my guy.
Magic.
Right, well, as the co-caster is sorting his stuff out, it is going to be a dragon secured. This is only Eternal Blizzard's second dragon, but it does buy them some time. And I think, as I mentioned, Jonathan Isaac is going to be the big focus for Eternal Blizzard. He is got that Trinity Force completed already. I think Rain D has had a pretty good game. His farm looks good. He's got that Ludens already. I'm assuming he's working towards either a Shadow Flame or a, oh god, what the Storm Surge as top lane. Benjamin is going to get pressured here by Ant. The Poppy doesn't go for the stun against the wall. The W is going to give him some extra move speed, but now a teleport is being channeled right behind enemy lines. It's Rain D. It's going melee range. The Deadly Flush is going to land as the Haptonen is slain where he stands, and Barack Obama takes the first kill in the team fight. Balthazar is here as well. The Unleashed Power does absolutely diddly squat in front of the Leona as Elrat is going to survive and tank up. Double kill locked in for Barack Obama as the fight is just broken into complete chaos. Benjamin steps forward as the tank scatter the weak onto 2. Rain D playing with a slither of health, and Jomi snipes away the Malphite from range. Another Killer Instinct is going to come through. Double kill. Locked in for the Kai'Sa. He's going to land another Void Seeker. Jonathan Isaac trying to do what he can as a rival into the fight. Has been very late. He's very, very low HP already. A squishy Kindred has to pop the Lamb's Respite as the back off is going to be hit and the buttons are pressed as the evacuation starts to continue. And EB, they drop multiple members despite the fight looking good. And it's Jomi, the heart of the star power for the side of Vitagen. Are you back?
I believe so. I am now back. That was a wrap. God, Sonics unleashed on that team fight. My goodness, what have I just missed out on? Can you hear me over?
You do still sound like a robot.
Oh my god.
Wait, is that just me? Producer, any... Oh, well, I mean, I'll take the replay whilst you try to figure that out. The fight was so chaotic. It was really messy. This channel of the Rift is actually really beneficial for the team composition of Eternal Blizzard, but Balthazar was able to hit beautiful scatter the weeks, and Jomi came in to just clean up the low HP members. Actually, it was only Rain D and Benjamin that were low HP, and this W from Jomi was beautiful. Jonathan Isaac's approach was just so late, and he couldn't do anything. Had to use the ultimate just to survive, which is not necessarily, I mean, it's kind of what the point of the ultimate is, but not necessarily the best way to use it. And I think Eternal Blizzard, they are, you know, crumbling to the pressure that Vitagen are putting on top of them. Oh, well, okay. I mean, Jomi is going to get caught on. That's a massive amount of CC. Does have to use the Killer Instinct defensively. Will just be able to get away. He does have to use that ultimate and the summoner spells as well, so not the ideal scenario for the Kai'Sa. We're just forced to recall. What that does is it opens up some space on the map for the side of Eternal Blizzard. So yeah, I mean, I do think right now the game state for Eternal Blizzard is not ideal. They are going to have to just try to play catch up. They do have in Oriana, of course, working towards that Storm Surge. Doesn't have any vision around where Ant's position is. Just is going to get that spot out with the blue trinket. And Rain D might need to start backing away right now. Yep, that is a support. But he does have Halo Blades and he's playing Poppy, so he can one-shot. You're going to be careful of that one. Right. Putting that ball.
Okay. Moment of truth. Please tell me we're good to go.
Yeah, you sound perfect. Welcome back.
Welcome back! Honestly, Sonic, you smashed that. I was just here vibing, I'm not gonna lie. Just unplugging a few cables left and right and hearing to that. Beautiful team fight casted. Thank you, bro, for taking over there. We are now back. I'm not too sure what's happened, but I do know for a fact.
Basically, all right, I can summarize for you. So,
yeah, no, I've seen everything.
Some craziness happened, right? And
absolutely,
so
VTG,
that guy pressed the button on that guy, and that guy got hit by this spell, and then that guy came late, meant that this team lost, and Vitagen are winning. So yeah, that's that.
Yeah, it looks like so. That gold lead is definitely looking to be to pretty much what you've just described, because it's going up ever so slightly here, right? 3,000 gold already for VTG. 24 minutes into this game as Elrat is looking for a few dodges. Scatter the Weak is going to go wide, and not much going to become of it. Solar Flare is not going to connect either. A bit of tanking is now the duty for Dutch, as they are shoving it in a whole wave here. Never mind, it's dead.
Yeah, really interesting decision to just go for the group up, because what Vitagen can do is just play defensive here, as they are doing, and Captain just got that bot lane turret shoved in that wave. EB missing out on a lot of resources here, so the macro not ideal, considering you want resources, you want gold income into these champions, and now a really crucial dragon contest might happen.
The unstoppable force is going in, and that's already a very low and a dead Malphite. Elrat does not have the solar flare, as
Captain
the Aatrox is looking for a flank. Does have the ultimate, decided not to use it here. That is a guaranteed dragon nonetheless for the side of VTG. It looks like Eternal Blizzard is looking around for a kill somewhere, but they're not going to secure it. Poppy secures himself that, and a double kill with the passive auto attack. Gonna go over for a secure double kill on top of a Baron here.
I'm a little bit confused on the macro coming out from Eternal Blizzard. They just look all over the place, and I get it. It's been a chaotic game, but you can't be the ones crumbling in the midst of all the chaos. You see Captain covering the flanks. Right now, the core should just be give up this dragon. It's their second Drake. Jesus Christ, I didn't realize second one Cloud Soul for the enemy team means the end of the game. Why do we go for this mid lane title? We just saw the Aatrox standing behind us a few seconds ago.
Yeah.
Let's just pretend that never happened, I guess. And Eternal Blizzard, they go for the mid lane push. Like, I don't know if they have Alzheimer's, but they seem to have forgotten that Captain was right there. And then they get punished for it. Obviously, they're lucky that the fact that 2 kills went over to the Poppy. But, I mean, they have to lose the Baron. They didn't even get that dragon that they contested their lives for it with. And they're even further behind in a game where chaos is reigning. It can go either way, but I feel like Eternal Blizzard have been the makers of their own demise by committing themselves to that mid lane turret when they fully well know that there's an Aatrox behind them.
Absolutely, and that Aatrox was holding the World Ender. He showed up, he was like, hi guys, I'm here. He decided not to go in on that flank. We got ourselves a TP. The World Ender is available. However, it's just going to be zoning the rest of EB here. Instead, they're going to be looking around at turning around for the dragon, as a lot of minions are being killed by the Kai'Sa here. She does have a bit of a better push on the mid lane than a Porjin with his 4 shots. Now, that is going to be shoved in, and a dragon is now up for the grabs.
Yeah, I mean, really, really nice poke coming out from Jomi. He's creating so much pressure on the map. But I have to admit, you know, poke Kai'Sa, I was thinking, looks pretty rough here, because surely Malphite and Orianna can just, you know, face tank engage onto you and you just die. But, I mean, if Eternal Blizzard don't want to press their buttons, then I guess you live. I mean, understandably, they're scared to fight right now. They are very, very far behind.
They are.
Yeah,
but they've got so much potential, right? They've got those ultimates ready. The unstoppable force, solar flare. They've got so much engaged. The shockwave and everything, but they're holding it. They're looking for pretty much just, I don't know, maybe Christmas here, but that's not going to save you guys, because that's about 3 months away. So you're going to have to make some plays on the Rift here. 2 dragons already taken over here, which is matching the other 2 sides, but the Baron is still ticking and has decided to get very aggressive into a 5-man team. Keeper's verdict is gonna get Kindred away from that. And again, we're just back to a bit of an ARAM in the mid lane here. Those towers are not going down, aside from actually one of them. Either way, Orianna's gonna get one of her own in the top lane.
Yeah, but there's no one matching the push from Captain, and he's going to get such a big in-swing of gold from this one. I don't even think Rain D will be able to push that tier 2.
He's still got a lot of minions. Nobody's matching it.
Yeah, no one's matching him. I think no one's even hit the recall button. We see Malphite and Leona immediately pressing that one, but he's actually going to be able to get this with the Baron. So, yeah, again, I go back. I have no clue what EB are doing on the macro.
Not at
side of
all. The
things.
macro is not looking very good.
And what's concerning, right, is their composition requires half a brain cell to execute. It's literally like I don't really know. I don't even need to explain it. Like the fact that Ant has been the closest thing to start a fight for Eternal Blizzard when he's playing for Vitagen just speaks volume as to like the way EB have been playing this. But there could be.
Hold on a
fight
moment.
here.
Are they going to be using that one brain cell that the composition requires here, or are they still going to be holding it? The solar flare is up for the no. Actually, it's coming up now. It's going to be used, but it's going wide. Now the Leona is going to get very low, already dead, and so is the Oriana. That's 2 members already down. Benjamin looking for a flank, but he's not going to get there in time. There's no saving nobody apart from maybe the Kaiser, as she does go down. But that is all the Rock made. Ooh, never mind. He's looking for a scatter the weak. Just an auto attack gonna do the job, as the ace is going through for VTG in this 30-minute game, and most likely a push for the inhibitor here.
Yeah, it's been nothing but pure domination. We'll get into the replay and you will see what happens there. The solar flare from Elrat scored a World Cup final goal, but it did not hit any key target. It just meant that the team fight was just so difficult. Malphite TP was pretty good, but they just rushed the fight. They took it way too quickly. Malphite arrived to the scene, but everyone was already dead.
It was too
It
late.
was the Donald Glover pizza meme when he rocks up and the house is on fire. It was literally that. It's like, why have we hard committed to a fight when our Malphite's channeling TP? Wait for that TP to come through, let him arrive to the river, and then you commit for the fight. But instead, they get impatient, they overcommit too early, and they have to lose so much. That gold lead has just grown to an insurmountable number that I don't think EB can come back from.
At this point in the game, Southernix, I doubt they can either. We're looking at over 10,000 gold going over to Vitagen here, as we are looking at, look at those items. The Rabadons already picked up. We've got those coming up to 3 to 4 item power spikes. 4 items on Aatrox, 3 on the Syndra and Wukong. This is just, and you cannot match that. The amount of damage and sheer pressure you have just from the items alone, it's going to be absolutely impossible within the next few minutes or at all, whether they're going to be able to come back on the side of Eternal Blizzard or not. That will be a miracle. We got the Baron now coming up. That is the next focus. However, Dutch and Ant are fishing already. He's got to go over the wall. He is here looking for a fight. However, he's by himself. Keeper's Verdict is not going to hit anybody. That's going to go wide. Curtain Cole is looking for it as the Guardian Angel is going to save Wukong, and so is the Lamb. And that's so much damage coming out onto the clone, but that's the wrong target. We've got another engage from Dutch, and the World Ender has arrived. He's got all the resets he needs there. Sterox is just gonna be enough. Is it? No, it's not. He was not able to hit anything. I mean, we got 1, we got 2, and we've got the final ADC battle. And Barack Obama is gonna be able to secure that one. And that was a 4v5 without the Malphite even present in that fight. What just happened?
Oh my god. Well, we'll see in the replay. I guess if EB don't want to engage any fights, Dutch will do the engaging for them. Yeah, really massive mistake coming out from the jungler of Vitagen. This was just a little bit of a strange start. He has the Guardian Angel popped. Katanen's approach here. Oh my god, I have to say, a player of his caliber should not be misplaying this one. This was a straight clean up for the Aatrox. I think there were 3 people with one HP, like just 1 spell hits, and you probably get reset, kill everyone. He didn't get a single one. And yeah, Eternal Blizzard, I don't know. They just won a 4v5 in a game state like this. Like,
apparently,
apparently I don't know anything about the game, because that doesn't really make sense to me.
Yeah, we literally just spoke about the need a miracle to be able to come back from a 10,000 gold deficit. They are still 8,000 gold behind or so. That's still a lot of money to be coming back into. However, on a calmer note, Benjamin was able to push in a bot lane wave. That's how it might be going down, but so is this Baron. Is Eternal Blizzard gonna be able to havoc a storm upon VTG here? Is that what they're looking for? Their Baron is secured. Scatter the Weak is gonna disengage Jonathan, and their Shockwave is going to secure a double kill already. Hold on a minute. The Killer Instinct is going to get the Lamb back to the base here into her own death realm. The unstoppable force onto Captain None. Ooh, the healing onto the passive. Hold on a moment. He's hitting something here, but it's not enough. He's been kited, and that's all you need to do at this stage in the game. This is a late game team comp here, Soronix. We have some stacks. I wonder how many stacks onto this Lamb already, onto Kindred. We've got the Jhin. We've got a very tanky Rock who pretty much does not get hit by anything at this stage in the game. Oh, never mind. I'm not going to be able to take my breath here as Rained is looking like he's on the wrong side of the map. It's not going to matter because his team, Benjamin and Jhin, able to support him to get out of that sticky situation.
What the hell is Vitagen doing? This game was so free. Are they trying to lose? Was some sort of PayPal deal made behind the scenes? I don't know, because I have no idea how they managed to throw the lead that they had. I'm not gonna lie, Captain looks so uncomfortable on the Aatrox in these team fights. I'm seeing nothing hit. I'm seeing like this guy is supposedly the world ender. I'm seeing a world starter, if anything. And here, you see the approach. Elrak gets completely one-shot, but the shockwave from Rain D was a beautiful, a work of art. Jomi is able to take out the Kindred, but then, unfortunately for him, the Scuttle Crab, the hero of the hour, tanks that W. I mean, he doesn't get the reset, and Captain here pops the world ender. Why don't you go in the Oriana as a, I guess we don't care about the replay.
We've seen him die. We know how that one goes. What is happening here,
Captain then DM'd Pepper, yo, don't show that bit. Pepper's like, okay, I got you, bro. I'll cut the replay.
Captain then Legacy has been secured for that one. Thank you very much, production. As Benjamin is actually getting picked up here, but he's so tanky that Shockwave is going to hit too. That is a clone. And however, I don't know if the Benjamin is going to be tanky enough to be able to support his team in the backline here. And neither is the Sona, as both of them have now been here. Scatter the Weak does hit Barack and he gets to flash away, but that is a reset. After reset, Killer Instinct arrives, and so does the triple kill. And an ace for the world ender on the side of VTG here. This is the team fight they needed, Somonix.
Yeah, lose 2 fights in a row just to win one for no reason. I understand. Really, really nice. Just as I was criticizing Captain for this game, he pops off in this team fight. But the key man, Jomi, in the bot lane, the one-time SLE champion for Vitagen himself, is gonna pull through with a massive team fight. 37 minutes into the game, an 11-2 performance, a man of the match performance from Jomi, and Vitagen go 1-0 up against Eternal Blizzard.
Beautifully done. Maybe just perhaps a little bit too sloppy near the very end. Like you say, losing 2 team fights to win the final one, that is just some flexing. Maybe that was what they were planning to do, but either way, the kills have been secured, and so has the game. VTG pick themselves up the first win between this best of 2 Eternal Blizzard versus Vitagen. We'll see whether they be able to really continue on this sort of kind of a good series so far. Do they have what it takes to keep it going? What do you reckon?
I think this game was concerning for a spectator on the side of Eternal Blizzard. I think their macro was just completely missing. I have to go back to the point of in the SLE, I always favor ease of execution compositions. Their composition was so easy, and Malphite ultimate didn't hit more than 1 person in most of the fights, and it's like okay, let me just explain to you a scenario. Okay, imagine if Malphite presses ult, and then I don't know, maybe Orianna presses ult, and then maybe I don't know, Leona presses ult. Um,
Right.
how play? How
Don't forget
enemy
about the
play?
curtain call, right?
Right?
That's
Yeah, exactly. Unfortunately, they did neither of these things. So
No,
I
I
mean,
didn't see any of that.
I'm actually gonna commend Rain D on those shockwaves in some of these fights, but again, you're an Orianna. There's only so much you can do. But yeah, the approach, the macro from Eevee was just a bit lackluster. And Vitagen, they look good. I think they look really good in these fights. I think somehow they started losing fights, which was a bit weird. But even then, they were so far ahead off the mid game. I think Ant is just creating so much pressure on the map.
He
He's
was
shutting
everywhere,
down,
especially in
and
that early game.
exactly. And I'm taking a look at the game plan from Vitagen. They've contained Jonathan Isaac perfectly in that game. And like I said, anyone watching this, download the info. Play like this against EB. What are they going to do? Because I mean, what they showed here today was, or at least in this game one, was nothing. If you shut down that jungler.
Listen, for Eternal Blizzard to be able to do really for them to come back into this, they're gonna have to rethink their strats. They need to make sure, like you say, the macro is there. You have no time to not worry about that. But we'll find out as soon as we start the next game here. I'm just going to check with my production. Are we going into the break here, or are we going straight into We Are Indeed? So, ladies and gents, don't go nowhere as we get ourselves ready for the next draft pick. We're going to go on a quick break.
Hey. Hey, look up at the sky, it's just a starting line. Waltzing through the storm, feel the vibe align. Radiant rebels in the silent fray. In the pulse of dawn, we embrace the day. We find harmony in mayhem, finding our own beat. Eyes ablaze, we're laser focused. Dancing through the storm, we become the light. Against the odds, we'll stand and play in this never-ending fray. Eyes alive in the pulse of dawn, we find our beat when the chances take form through the noise. Hey, look down at the tide, it's our warning sign. It's time to rock the wave or get swept aside. Crash through barriers, our destinies untied. We find harmony in mayhem, finding our own beat. Eyes ablaze, we're laser focused. We become the light. We become the light. Against the odds, we'll stand and play in this never-ending fray. Eyes alive in the pulse of dawn, we find our beat when the chances take form through the noise. Hey, look up at the sky, it's just a starting line. Hey, look up at the sky, it's just a starting line. Radiant rebels in the silent fray. In the pulse of dawn, we embrace the day. We find harmony in mayhem, finding our own beat. Eyes ablaze, we're laser focused. Dancing through the storm, we become the light. We become the light. Against the odds, we'll stand and play in this never-ending fray. Eyes alive in the pulse of dawn, we find our beat when the chances take form.
Welcome back. This is it, guys. This is the last game between Eternal Blizzard versus Vitagen. We will see whether Eternal Blizzard is going to be able to come back and make this a draw, or is Vitagen just going to go on that high road and continue with their stomp-like performance here. Sovernix, what are we going to see? What are the bans? What are the picks?
Good question. So obviously that first game, it was chaotic and entertaining. I never thought I would say this, but I found a new metric for how bad a team is playing. If the producer starts giggling at a team's gameplay, then that's when you know it's pretty bad.
It's looking a bit rough.
I wish people heard it because it was just so funny just hear some little giggles in the background. But at the same time, it was like, I don't know, kind of deserved, right? It's like, what was going on in that game? And arguably from both teams, I guess more.
Bit messy in the end for, no certainty for Vitagen,
I
but
will
for the most
say-
part.
Yeah, I
It
will
was a
say it does seem like Vitagen have a much better game plan going into this one. Obviously, it's only one game. There is a second one, so it could just be a switch up here. But as I said, the big concern is if Jonathan Isaac is not activated into the game, EB look really, really rough. They don't do anything.
That is
Sit
very
around
true.
and wait for the game to end. And so we head into draft. And I mean, what do you think are the, I guess
Yeah.
differences?
Reckon, well,
that need to
I
be done?
really wanted to see that Seraphine, but as we can see, that's already banned away, and so is that Ivan. I've heard a lot about it, but I guess today is not the day that we'll see it. And instead, the Syndra is now being taken away by Vitagen. Vitagen is looking not to pick it themselves this time round, and they're going to just take it away off the board as is. And those are the 6 bans for you. We will see what the first pick here is. Is it going to be once again prioritizing that top lane, or is it, sorry, the bot lane here, or are we going to be thinking about something else? We shall see.
It's really interesting. I'm seeing Skarner open Kai'Sa, of course. We saw how good Jomi played that in the last game. He's going to get his hands on it once more. That might be a mistake EB made. He really put in an MVP level performance. Instead, EB will go for that Ahri. I wouldn't be surprised if they
That's
put
a
Baraka
change
Ogama
up.
into the mid lane and put Rain D and AD carries just so that Baraka Ogama and Jonathan Isaac can have a little bit more activation on the map. I mean, we'll see, of course. But yeah, it's going to be the Viego locked in for Jonathan Isaac. A bit more reliability than the Kindred. Kindred requires slim win conditions in order to pull off. And I think what we saw last game is I think Jonathan Isaac, a talented enough player to do so, but it does require the correct team. So he's going to go for that Viego instead of a little bit more self-sustaining. We see the Annie hover, and I think this is going to get locked in.
It's locked
that
in.
Poppy again.
Woo! And
This
he's looking
time-
for that round
yeah.
2 on the Poppy.
This time, Poppy has a little bit more functionality at this stage in the draft. I wouldn't be surprised if Annie is just, a straight-up counter pick into the Ahri. I think historically, it has been shown. I think 2023 MSI is where I saw Annie just break into the meta because Ahri was strong in the meta as well. And so, really, really good answer. And I mean, so far, Vitagen, really nice start to the draft. But EB, I'm so happy to see this because I think Benjamin struggled a lot in that laning phase, and picking something like the Ornn means it's a little bit more forgiving if you do fall behind in the laning.
That's for sure. Now, reacting to your picks here is very important. I haven't seen Annie for a long time, and neither have I the really Viego. That is locked in. Viego is something that is a very nice pick. It's very cool to be able to see it on the Rift because there's just so much outplay potential, stealing every single one of those champions there as you go around the Rift, causing havoc. Speaking of havoc, Ornn has been also locked in, and he loves to be able to just push for that late game potential here with all of those items. And he's not so bad in the lane either. He's going to be able to have quite a bit of pressure with the ability to be just buying items as you please. Those 4 bans have now been locked in. 2 ADCs prioritizing here by the side of Vitagen. Jhin and Kog'Maw have been taken away. Very similar bans on the side of Eternal. Blizzard being the Olaf and Camille, exactly the same as the last game, as the Ashe is now locked in. Looking for a little bit more kiting potential here. Very not so safe of an ADC here. So are we going to see a good peeling support? Something that is able to keep the Ashe alive in these team fights? That is a potential.
Well, I think Ash's purpose actually in this game is to be more of a setup champion for the Viego Ari. I think locking in this Ash at this point into the game is just saying, well, I'm going to utilize my CC. I think Ash is probably one of the few AD carries that has the crowd control that Ash has, and so understandably so, you create that setup in the bot lane. Obviously, where it really well pointed out, it's very, very rough in terms of immobility up against the likes of the Annie and the Poppy, but I think lane-wise, it's a really good pick into the Kai'Sa as well. And if Kai'Sa is going to opt into that AP build again, it's a bit of a slow burner. It takes a while to come online, and Ashe is very, very oppressive in the laning phase if operated correctly. And we see the Dutch special. Graves locked in, really nice pairing with the Annie and the Poppy as well. So that's a nice little pick there for Vitagen, but it's very aggressive. I think it's good for the player. However, I'm not sure if it fits that well in terms of the team composition, as we see Nautilus, another traditional sport, locked in. Nautilus into Poppy is a question mark, and to me, obviously you get stopped if you go for that dredge line with the W, so not sure what the idea behind that one was, but I mean, I guess the, you know, dropping the ult onto the Kai'Sa with the Graves is just such high value, so I understand
so much pick potential here on the side of Eternal Blizzard, right? There's so much of it. The arrow, by the dredge line, the charm, they're looking for pretty much back to front engage. You're not going to be safe at any point in these team fights with the Ornabelle, with the Diego just disappearing and appearing in these team fights as well. So this is going to be quite a team fight for the side of Eternal Blizzard. Whereas quite of a similar team comp on the side of Vitagen, we've got 3 of the same champions being locked in, with the Kindred now no longer, well, actually that was on the other side. We've got the Kai'Sa, we've got the Poppy, and we've got the Aatrox once again locked in. It wasn't really a banned priority on the side of Eternal, so do you reckon this time round, Sovereign said the Aatrox is going to be able to maybe have a bit of a bigger impact in this game as opposed to the last game?
So okay, I know at the end of the game, the conclusion there was Captain wasn't that impactful on the Aatrox, but I think it's easy to ignore the early game pressure he was putting onto the top side. I think Benjamin on the Malphite was so far behind, and whilst that doesn't necessarily matter too much in most cases, I think the way in which Captain was pressuring that side lane was very, very, very intense. And yeah, he did eventually get solo killed, but that was already after the point where Captain had built up a massive lead. And I think Aatrox into Ornn is another matchup where Aatrox should you know, be very, very strong in. I mean, you're the Aatrox main you mentioned, so you can break down the matchup a little bit more.
We are looking at a very similar here, really, matchup. Ornn does a very similar job to what a Malphite does, but instead Ornn likes to trade a little bit more aggressively. You do have a bigger potential to kill the Ornn as an Aatrox, for as long as you constantly are able to poke him down and he doesn't use too much of his, you know, dashes and W's, where the Aatrox W is not able to pull him in. But we'll see. That's something that we definitely will find out about. As I just wanted to speak about Barack Obama here, obviously. In the second game, we are looking at Barack Obama being a sub for the side of, correct me if I'm wrong,
Eternal Blizzard.
Nice one, Eternal Blizzard. So that's something that they don't usually have. They don't have Barack Obama playing for them. That's due to not being able to play the real ADC because of some PC issues. Eternal Blizzard are looking for that Ash Arrow, however. So is Barack Obama going to be able to get a couple of picks around the map, hit those as we do?
So actually, Barack Obama is I rate that guy a lot. I actually think he's a really, really good player. So
yeah,
whilst he is a stand-in for their regular AD carry, I don't think it's. I mean, yes, I suspected that. So okay, so a producer just confirmed it's Rain D playing the Ashe, and it's Barack Obama in the mid lane. And I was thinking as soon as that Ari got locked in with the Viego, I was like, it's 100%. I wasn't 100%. I was like, I'm pretty sure that's Barack Obama on the Ari. And I really like the switch up. I think Rain D, he's a bit better as a player when it comes to playing against an aggressive mid laner because he is a neutralizer. I don't think Rain D is a very progressive player in the mid lane, whereas Barack Obama, he is a scary mid laner. I think those with any SLE viewer or player experience is quite terrified of what Barack Obama can do, and dropping him into the mid lane pairing with Jonathan Isaacs Viego is going to be something that Vitagen need to be careful of. I think initially I was like, I wasn't sure about Rain D Ari and Jonathan Isaac Viego, but I think Barack Obama Ari, he's really good on the Ari. Last split in the SLE, this was basically his comfort pick. I'm pretty sure he just won on it most of the time. No disrespect to Rain D's Ari, of course, but I think it's just a difference in playstyles. I think both mid laners have a lot of pedigree in the SLE. It's just, I think for the function of this particular game up against Dutch and Balthazar, I think you need something a bit more aggressive to play with Jonathan Isaac's aggression into Dutch, and I think putting Barack Obama into the mid lane is a perfect move for EV.
Absolutely. As we've got that prediction started on the stream, guys, make sure you cast your votes. Who is it going to be? Are we going to get ourselves the Eternal Blizzards taking over the second game, or is Vitagen going to be able to continue their spree here and just reign supreme? I did want to mention about Ant. Obviously, Ant picking up the Poppy again here. It's a pick that they've just seen, right? So they know a rough play style around what the Ant might be doing. Nautilus could be a good match to be roaming around the map here in the early stages of the game. Poppy did do that exact same thing last game, and it's most likely something that Ant is going to be looking to do again. So instead, perhaps El Rat is going to be matching those roams and going to be looking for a couple of cheeky kills down in the top side for himself.
Yeah. I mean, last game, Ant really showed aggression on the Poppy pick. I described him as basically the second jungler. Weirdly enough, I think last game, the Kindred a lot tried to go through it, but again, I do have to comment on the passiveness of the Eternal Blizzard laners that didn't allow that to happen. However, this time around, Dutch's Graves should be looking for a similar level of aggression, except he's got the support of an Annie. We know how Ant moved around the map in the last game, which is going to only help Dutch in a better way to go for these aggressive invades. And so I like this draft coming out from Vitagen. What I am slightly concerned of is, are there too many carries on their team? Kai'Sa wants resources. Aatrox wants resources. Graves also wants resources. Are they going to be able to balance all that income between three high resource champions? That is going to be the biggest question going into this game. But I think if last game was anything to go off, I think they definitely are one of the best teams to be able to do that.
No, absolutely. And that's a great point to really build off of here. On the other side here, Eternal Blizzard are looking at, spreading the cost of those kills between maybe a fewer amount of champions. You've got the Ornn, you've got the Nautilus. There's something that they could really, not really focus about getting kills as much as making sure those picks are available, that you are the tank, you are the front, and you support the carries, such as the Ashe, the Viego, and the Ahri. It's going to be a little bit more difficult for the side of the Ahri, of course. She's most likely going to be looking into some roams instead of sticking around the mid lane too much. Not the best of matchups, as you've mentioned before here. It is a counter pick, something that they picked after their Ahri was already locked in. So whether that's going to be the case here is something that we're going to find out. Barack Obama, like you've mentioned, very confident on the Ahri, so I'm sure he's going to have something up his sleeves either way.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the Ahri Annie matchup, I think the reason why it is so difficult is obviously we know how versatile and how mobile Ahri can be. I think I describe Ahri as one of those champions where it's like jack of all trades but a master of none. And I think like this, what you mentioned there, Barack Obama, really good Ahri player and should be able to pull this off. But I think Annie is so brain dead that it doesn't. How good
it doesn't take much for you to hear a couple of keys.
Let's be honest, right? What's the Annie combo? You press the point and click stun because you have a really broken passive.
Spam your abilities, get your passive, and then press anything to stun anyone, right? Just pretty much.
Even if Barack Obama activates the aspect of Faker and solo kills Annie, you're gonna get a raging fire bear running at you to kill you anyway. So yeah, Annie just is one of those champions that just shuts down a lot of what Ari likes to do. And so that's why
Eternal Bliss is moving as a unit here, actually. Sorry to interrupt. I'm looking for... Ooh, it looks like that is... No, and he does not have any idea. Here, the flash is going in, and it's going to hit. Hold on a minute.
Charm
The
missed.
charm does go wide. Jomi's actually just going to walk away with that one. Just like that. That's a flash used. No flash of their own.
No. I mean, okay, two bad things about this. Obviously, Nautilus losing the flash, but Ari having to start E into an Annie lane. Oh god, it's rough. And I mean, I could get it. I understand if that charm hit, maybe there's a kill. But I have to commend Jomi, ice in his veins, holding that flash. But I mean, it was really weird. I feel like it was a nice idea, but the execution was a bit off from EB. But I mean, decent invade. You can see
a very similar
already...
approach to how the last
Yeah,
game
yeah,
was,
very
right?
similar approach. I mean, at the very least, they did get a ward, and you see on the minimap, it was traded with a ward from Vitagen onto where Jonathan Isaac is starting. So they have full information of where he is right now and exactly where he is pathing to. Both junglers are mirroring each other, so I wouldn't be surprised to see an early contest on that bot side crap.
Very early. Now, with the side of Graves on the Vitagen here, he could be starting, for all that Eternal Blizzard knows, on the Raves here, right? So they don't necessarily have a lot of information on the Graves, but they have a lot of information on the Viego start on the side of Vitagen here. So, as Dutch is clearing out his jungle in the top side, and so is the Viego, we got ourselves a bit of a slow start. Everybody's just trying to get that level 2. Who's going to get that prio in the bot lane? This is going to be Vitagen, and that means Eternal Blizzard have to back away ever so slightly here.
Yes, I did want to point out, yes, you put a stronger Ahri player onto the Ahri in the mid lane, but then there's the other question is, what's Randy like on AD carry? You know, that's an unproven factor. We don't know how he's going to perform in the matchup, and in a winning lane, he's already dropped that level 2 prior, which I know Ash can get.
Isaac's looking for it back.
in the mid lane.
Does hit the level 3 a little bit sooner. The flash is going to have to be used. Very good respected flash there.
Yeah, decent flash. I mean, it's pretty rough for Ahri to lose the flash at this point into the game. Kind of opens up. Sorry, Annie. Bot lane. Look for her.
The Red Line does, yeah, as Poppy is going to just walk away with the W here. The movement speed is very nice, especially at the early side, early stages of the game here.
Yeah, look at Dutch though in the jungle.
Oh, hold on a moment. I'm not actually very sure as
Jonathan
to...
Isaac got it.
Nice.
Yeah, that was
secured.
smote away by Jonathan Isaac, so he won't lose anything. Nice reactions there, but I do like the invade from Dutch. A bit psychopathic to go for it when you don't have prior in any lanes, and what that opens up is a potential invade. So now, keep your eyes on where Jonathan Isaac's going, because he's heading towards bot.
And is looking for a ward here. Instead, he's going to find a Nautilus. The Viego's not going to be able to hit that stun. Instead, Elra is getting very low here.
Going for an invade.
In a 3v2, the invade is there indeed. Isaac wants revenge. At least pressure him down in this bot lane jungle here. Ari is matching it, and so is the Annie. Hold on a minute, and has failed the flash. Not like this. They have vision, however. He's going to be able to potentially click it. He does indeed. That's a cancel on the dash, and the first blood, as well as the second blood. So far, it's traded. Diego has got the reset here. Beautiful! W here canceling the E on the Graves, who's going to go down, and Balthazar's not looking too healthy. Ladies and gents, that's a 3-man kill for just a 1 for Vitagen this time around.
And I complimented Vitagen in the way they had contained Jonathan Isaac in game 1, but it looks like they're not doing that in game 2. A bit of a goofy execution there from Ant, but it initially starts off with a kill for Vitagen, but unfortunately Jonathan Isaac getting the reset. How funny is it that Poppy is stronger than Viego in this fight? Well, not so funny, because it did mean a double kill for Barakagama, and it goes back to the question, if Rain D was in mid lane, would this invade be happening? We don't know, but I know Barakagama aggression as a player, and that's why they go for this bot side invade. And he was there playing with his jungler. He was there before the Annie, and this fight happened on the side of Vitagen's jungle. And yeah, EB, they benefit off that. 2 kills now in the pocket of Barakagama, and we talked about how difficult this matchup is for the Ahri, but I mean, like you said perfectly, one aspect of it is if you are good enough on the champion, or if you play this well enough, you're not going to find too much trouble. And right now, Barack Ogama, very, very comfortable.
Absolutely. Initially, that flash by Poppy, it resulted, obviously, not as planned. It did get them the kill, at least one kill, but the turnaround by Jonathan, by Barack Obama, and it was just enough for them to be able to pick up that nice early lead into this game here. Almost 1,000 gold already up. As we got ourselves a little shove down in a mid lane here. However, Dutch is just around the corner, so could be looking for a potential gank or even the dragon, right?
Yeah.
We've got some vision established.
Yeah, and I actually think it's important to discuss this bot side invade and how bad this is for Dutch. Being behind on Graves in the early game is just not what you want to do. This is a champion that requires you to be aggressive and get ahead. And being behind against a Viego at this point in the game, it's not a good look. I think right now what Vitagen needs to do is figure out a way to set up a kill for the Graves so that he can get back into this game.
It's coming in.
so-
It's not going to be enough as Benjamin.
So-
That's what I was talking about. Benjamin is just so easily going to get out of those engages by the Aatrox.
We see a dragon being started up here, but there is control from the bot side of Vitagen.
Look at that, Barack Ogama already moving
Yep.
as soon as he sees Dutch on the map here, matching Isaac's a dragon, and instead they're going to be
They can't
have
fight.
to be backing. That's going to be the first dragon, most likely. Yes, it is. Graves is going
And-
back here, secured.
I want to emphasize again, Barack Ogama's inclusion into the mid lane on the Ori, it's causing so many problems. You see, Dutch is trying to look for plays, but he just can't because of the control that Barack Ogama has on this mid lane. Everything Dutch is trying, it's being matched with Barack Ogama, not even Jonathan Isaac. He's always first, and well, it's causing a lot of problems for Vitagen with what they want to do in the early game. and
Absolutely,
They,
but
they,
look
even,
at
they
this
might even lose out
rotation.
on both objectives here.
Exactly, because they're already here, rotating around the map very quickly, making it very obvious walking through that mid lane. But
Oh,
is it
Balthazar.
gonna matter as the Ari ultimate has already been used? That's one down. Annie, the carry in the mid lane here for the side of Vitagen, is already dead, and so is the Nautilus. Barack Ogama is gonna have to ult away to safety. Two members
and-
down, one either side. Their ultimate has been cold, and another kill secured. Moving a little bit faster into that team fight makes that. Well, there you go. The grubs are now being secured as they planned initially.
This is beautiful mid lane play come out from Barack Ogama. Well, I might have to stop my point because Katanen is hanging
they're
around.
looking for something here. Barack gonna just
no,
move
they're gonna
out
have to-
into here, and nothing else is gonna be called.
Yeah. Beautiful mid lane play from Barack Ogama. 100% kill participation. And what happened here? Barack Ogama moved bot lane first for the dragon objective. Then shoved mid wave, moved top side first. Set up this play here. Elrat did land a beautiful hook, and he came in with the burst. Balthazar died before he could get anything off. Enchantress arrow almost landing on top of Captain, and it was an initial trade, but here is the over chase as Benjamin was able to move down, call of the Forge God right onto Ant, meaning Barack Ogama got himself his third kill of the game, and right now EB in cruise control, a much better game in this second one.
Absolutely. That was just what they needed. Benjamin showing up at the right time, perfectly timed. With, of course, Aatrox about, but it wasn't enough because of that. One ram is all they needed to be able to secure themselves that team fight, as well as the grubs here. Bot lane, however, we've had not much happening between the Kai'Sa and the Ashe. Instead, they're matching each other's farm very nicely, and they're just making sure that they're scaling, doing what an ADC needs to do at this point in the game, is not die and get as much gold in your pocket as possible.
Yep. I mean, I think this is a really good look from EB. I think, as I said, moving Ogama into the mid lane for this particular matchup is a bit of a stroke of genius. But now the bot side of EB, they might need to be careful here.
Yeah, they are looking for a gank here. Viego is about. Jonathan is just around the Grump here. Okay, they're going to have to disengage instead. Wisely so. Couple of minions under the tower here for both Balthazar and Jomi. They're going to be securing those. We're slowing down. We're slowing down. There's not many objectives around the map right now. Everything's been taken. There's no real point in fighting. As the crystal arrow is going to go wide. That's not going to hit nobody. And instead, Isaac looking for some control in the enemy jungle.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, so far it looks like Vitagen they're kind of playing on the back foot again. I need to emphasize, Graves behind at this point in the game is not ideal. What must feel rough for Dutch as well is that this is his sort of signature or self-proclaimed signature champion, of course, and I think. He should, I think at some point we'll be able to get back into the game, but Ant in danger right
But hold
here.
on a minute, Ant had no idea. He wasn't even
Oh
looking
my
at the
God.
red line. Secures it. Is he gonna get away? No, he's not. The red buff does just enough damage. But hold on a moment, the Graves shredded that Nautilus. Isaac just with a bit of health left. The Timbers is not yet that kill either. What a surprise.
Yeah, as mentioned, Annie, pretty easy. You know, you press that flash ulti button, apparently everyone just dies. We'll get into the replay here. It was quite comedic here. It kind of looks like Ant was not watching his screen. Maybe he had his eyes set on the
mid lane, I think.
On the mid lane here. So, see, Jonathan Isaac did get the stun off and just CC chain to death. Importantly, he... Oh, okay, Captain instead.
Well, the Aatrox is
Oh,
gonna
wait, no, he's
get absolutely that's a nice 1v1, but the Dutch is here to save the day. Is it gonna be enough? Benjamin's looking for a cube. It's gonna go wide, and instead, that's a beautiful, nice little gang to make sure that the Aatrox does not go down.
That's crazy that Ord almost killed the Graves there. That's absolutely crazy. But yeah, I mean, what's really good is Dutch has picked up 3 kills in a small amount of time. That's a fantastic look for the Graves. He's actually ahead of kills on the Viego, who's been kind of so far creating a lot more pressure than the Graves. But this is a really, really good look for Vitagen. It's a route back into the game.
That's an Ari ulted down there already. That is going to go wide. Isaac is not able to hit that, and instead disengage. Pushing in the tower here. Ant is already around, and so is the Nautilus. It's going to be stunned under the tower. He does disengage with the W. Looking like a bit of a skirmish around these Graves instead.
Yeah, I mean, they use a lot of ultimates to get that potential mid lane kill. Of course, Balthazar did survive, but it does mean opens up space for this
Keeper's
dragon.
verdict is going to dissuade them, send them
Never
back to
mind.
base. You're going to have to try again, as the
Very
grubs are
good.
actually being taken by the Graves already in the top side here. So they're going to have to, buy some time here. Graves could potentially be looking at taking a little bit more on the top side now due to this. Has Ant got another keeper's verdict looking for? No, he's gonna instead just walk about as he does, menacingly so. Looking for something around the map here.
Oh, Joby needs to be careful.
Jomi is very close to this 3-man gank, and instead a beautiful push by the Ash, and is looking to poke down at a level 10 Ari to his level 6 Poppy. He does the trick, right? And he was thinking about, he had his friends about, just in case it got a little bit more dangerous. Ooh.
Yeah. Well, interesting thing. I think one thing we actually haven't talked about is this top lane. Look at the CS lead. Of course, Benjamin does have the Thornmail completed already, so I don't think he will ever die, but Aatrox is slowly scaling, getting stronger minute
At that
by
level,
minute.
2 levels already.
2 levels ahead. Hasn't gotten any plates yet, but I mean, that CS lead is enough to say that he is very far ahead of Benjamin right now. I think that's one thing EB need to keep their eyes on. Of course, Captain in last game in the fight wasn't the biggest of impacts, but at the end of the day, it is an Aatrox. It is Captain. We know the pedigree of this player and on this champion as well. I don't think one game was enough to classify if he is a good Aatrox or not, because he definitely is based on his history. So they need to be careful about Aatrox.
Dutch is getting ganked in his own jungle here, and he's just about, but the charm is not going to hit because a beautiful flash is something that he's not going to have for the next 5 minutes. Of course, just speaking on that Aatrox top side, right? You've got another very similar matchup as per the last time. Hold on a minute. Tibbers has decided to, get unleashed, and that's all that's going to happen there. Barakagama had another charge on his ultimate. He decided to use it, and now has to use a flash of her own.
Yeah, very chaotic coming out here from Vitagen, looking for players, but I think that's kind of what they want to do. They've managed to pick off a few of their own kills. out of the chaos. It seems like maybe they're a team that is very, very good at creating their own sort of hell awakening game state. And so Agama almost falls, but he's face checking this one.
Ooh, Dutch has a lot of damage. That's a beautiful flash once again by another mid laner this time around the Ari here, which means, yeah. So there's a lot of fighting back and forth going on. A lot of flashes are being used currently here, right? So for the next big team fight, we're not going to have those carries be able to get away with, you know, those risky situations because their flashes are currently on big cooldowns here. So we'll see exactly what they'll be able to do around those cooldowns.
Yeah, and I think one scary thing is, yes, EB are ahead of the curve right now, but look across that scoreboard. Of course, there aren't that many spotlight shiners at the moment on the side of the Vitagen squad, but EB, the focus is the mid jungle. If you catch these two out, if you pick up those shutdowns, especially if it goes into the pocket of the Kaiser or the Grazer, even the Aatrox, that is a massive swing of gold for the side of Vitagen. This next Dragon fight is going to be crucial. It needs to be contested as well because of the fact that it is a soul point for Eternal Blizzard. And the soul right now, it's a Cloud Soul. Yes, this is commonly known as a bit more on the useless side, but look at the team composition from EB. Cloud Soul is beautiful for their composition. It works really well for the Ari, works really well for the Viego, and right now they're the focal points of that team composition. So Vitagen, they need to make sure that they're in position to contest this, as it is a
well, as Annie is gonna walk into this death bush that Dredge9 does here, and that is a respected flash. Instead, Isaac is gonna follow through with a ultimate dash of his own. The Herald is being used, and that's most likely gonna be 2 towers down here. Now look mid lane here. Are they gonna be able to push into that tower? Instead, actually, Graves is gonna go back, and Poppy's looking for a bit of a push onto the Ornn top side, who's very low on mana. A charge onto the bot lane tower is going to make sure that that tower also goes down. They're going to have to give up 2 towers 17 minutes into this game. However, in the top side, we got ourselves a bit of a situation. Hold on, this Poppy has been level 6 for quite a while now. Missing out on a lot of XP because of the roaming capability that, you know, it does have.
Dutch is dead.
Hold on.
I didn't see what happened there. But, yeah.
Oh my.
Okay, apparently blue side macro is just impossible to play because, again, this kind of happened last game where it was like, a bot tier 2 was being taken and no one really gave a crap about it. And I'm like, ding dong, hello, that's 700 gold for free that you're just giving to your opponents. And EB are going to be the ones to claim it this game. They don't achieve anything on the other side of the map because Benjamin was able to clear the wave out. So, yeah, Vitagen, they just drop a lot. They even drop Dutch as a kill. And now this dragon that they need to contest is going to be even more difficult, to the point where I'm wondering if they can even contest it, because if they commit to a fight, they probably end up losing the Baron.
Isaac's already taken the crab. He's taken it. So that vision is going to be for them already sitting there. It doesn't look like they're going to be contesting for it. Instead, we got some lane pressure here. We got some dragon pressure. There's no macro. You're not wrong to say that maybe blue side is just cursed. We have 0 pressure from the side of Vitagen, which is very unlike them, judging from the first performance in the game 1 here. Instead, it looks like it's slightly being spun around on its head here. And instead, Eternal side of things is looking very good at this point in the game. Already looking at that almost 3.5k gold lead.
Yeah, and I mean, Eternal Blizzard, they're playing this game extremely well, but I think Vitagen, the problem with their composition is that the win conditions are very, very slim. Whilst I mentioned in the draft, whilst Graves is a good pick for the player, I didn't really see how it fit into this team composition. I think off the back of last game, you should be playing through Jomi. What's interesting is, like, the Eternal Blizzard move Rain D over to the bot side, and I don't think Vitagen, you know, could kind of read that. Why don't we just punish bot side? That's an off-roll AD carry, and Jonathan Isaac might be in danger here.
Absolutely. He has no flash of his own, and that's a 3-man engage already. Now, bear in mind that the Enchanted Crystal Arrow is going to hit. Is it enough time? The Dredge9 does connect. The CC chain is there. 1-for-1 is matched. Ornn ult is going to go wide. However, Annie has been left alone. in the tower, trying to clear out this wave here. The TP is coming out actually from the Aatrox. Is it going to be just in time? The World Ender has been used. That's a 1-for-1. Is Ash going to flash away of her own? Just came up, by the way. Now already down as we speak. Randy is kiting as much as he can. The World Ender is no longer going to be able to world end anything here, as instead, Jomi's world is being ended. And with that, we got ourselves a beautiful team fight on the side.
I don't know how Rain D just turned into Prime Ruler, but he was kiting that beautifully. And gosh, I'm sorry for questioning your AD carry, because apparently I was wrong. And yeah, we'll watch the replay here. Balthazar left to his own devices. Buy
so much time.
And he does get finished off. He did take a chunk of Elrat's HP, got the reset on the World Ender, and Rain D was the focus. But watch this, Ash kiting beautifully against the Aatrox in his face, and the spacing was beautiful. Like I said, a prime ruler here in the SLE. Jomi as well had to die at the
Double
back end of that.
replay.
We won't get the replay from that, sadly, because, I mean, no one wants to see a Kai'Sa get obliterated underneath his own turret. As EB, another well-coordinated team fight. It looked so rough at the start with the Viego dropping initially, but then the teleport came in from Benjamin. The Call of the Forge got forced the flash out of the Kai'Sa, and there was a return play from Vitagen, but it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough at all. And EB, they're now in the driver's seat. If the Orin, the Viego was just a problem, now the Ash is a problem in its own right. And Vitagen, they need to be careful. And it goes back to that conversation. How difficult is it to balance
Enchanted Arrows is gonna go wide, but hold on a minute. Poppy's using a W, but that's a beautiful engage by the Annie over the wall, and that's a very low Barack Obama on the Ari. He's gonna be able to stay alive. The World Ender is not enough. Kai'Sa double kill with the Killer Instinct is gonna be able to secure a couple of kills of her own. And Rain D, this time round, does not reign supreme on the ADC, because an almost ace is coming out for the side of Vitagen, who's now gonna look upon this Baron instead, with only Ornn able to stop it.
What just happened? EB was so far ahead. They've got 3 dragons. I have no idea how in any universe they lose a team fight. It's just a straight up face check. Katsunen and Balthazar did so much damage. And look at Barack Obama surviving with a sliver of health. But this ultimate from Jomi was just shutting down the carries from Eternal Blizzard. And Rain D did what he can. But unfortunately, it's an Ash against 4 people. So he is going to drop. And now Kai'Sa is online. We saw Jomi in that last game be the carry he needed to be for Vitagen, and right now he was in the face of a game where he was so behind. He was so behind on the curve in the rest of the game, but right now he's just picked himself up a triple kill, and now Vitagen, they are activated, they are online, they have a Baron buff in the face of Eternal Blizzard.
They are indeed. That's going to be so hard to once again come back into they had such a lead. They had everything going for themselves, especially in that top lane little skirmish there. Beautiful gank. The tower dive into the Annie, followed by the Aatrox, followed by a Kai'Sa death. But instead, this time round, the Annie was the first, as last time, and also this time, the first one to instigate this team fight. That ultimate over that bush, getting the Ari and another member that I can't really recall locked down and just deleting, I believe it was the Viego. It was just a beautiful engage on the back of that Crystal Arrow, just going wide, and instead it spelled out disaster and translated to a triple kill for this Kai'Sa. So now they're back in this game. This is going to be looking like a bit of a closer back and forth between these two teams now here, Southernix.
Yeah, this is very, very close, and I mean the thing about the SLE is that you get a beautiful matchups like this where in any game between any team something can turn on its head. We were looking at a game state where EB were just starting to win every single fight. The game was looking one-sided with the Orion Viego ahead, and then suddenly Ash picks up a bunch of kills herself, and then suddenly they start losing. It's like, why
the guy says online? What's happening, right?
You know that meme with Gru from Despicable Me, where he's like listing out his plan, and then the last scene is just like, wait, what? We start losing, and that's kind of just what's happened in this game. It's like, how have you gone step 1, step 2, step 3? And then the end result is disaster. Like, huh? It doesn't quite make sense. But that's the beauty.
What I know
of the
for a
SLE.
fact is that I haven't seen the latest, but I love myself some Groove from Despicable Me. Great stuff. But also the thing I know is that I can hear sounds and I cannot see the game. There it is. Beautifully done. We're ready to jump right back into this one. Thank you very much, guys. Sorry about the pause. Quick one there. Not much of it. Okay, we got ourselves a bit of an A-ram here in the mid lane. What are we going to see? Is Ant looking for a bit of an engage? Yes, he is. He does hit onto the wrong target. The Enchanted Crystal Arrow is going to hit the Aatrox, who's going absolutely CC. They're not going to be able to do much in this team fight. 1Q, 2 Qs. Orn is getting very low. So is the Aatrox, who's now dead. And Nautilus is coming down as well. That's a 2 for 1 at this point. That's not too bad. I was looking at a little bit more here from that team fight, but they're just gonna get away with some HP left to maybe contest this dragon here.
Yeah, 2 for 1 in favor of Vitagen. Captaining is the one to drop, but that team fight was so close from going heavily onto one side. The health bars are looking better for Eternal Blizzard, but Vitagen have the power of numbers, and they need to contest this dragon. They can't give up the soul.
They need to, but they need to reset as well. Benjamin has his ultimate, and so does the Aatrox, so we're most likely gonna be seeing another fight here on the back of the last. We got Benjamin already spawning, and he's already TPing. This time around, Aatrox is gonna slow down on that one. He's gonna use the ease to get into this fight, but I don't think those umbral dashes are gonna get him as near as quickly enough as the Orn, who's already here and able to secure that control over this dragon.
Yeah.
Is the Aatrox now going to be able to do something here? The World Ender is coming up. The flash is also. Balthazar is looking at no
they're
flash.
giving it.
And instead they're going to be able to give it. That's a Soul Drake going
Yeah.
over to EB.
It's handshaking, and interestingly enough, I assume, well, I'll talk about the replay first. The fight was crazy. You see here, the Ash Arrow hits Captain, and so he can't pop the World Ender, and the knock up from Benjamin onto 4 set the play up for EB. But even after all that, it is actually the Kaiser Static Shiv that start finishing members off. So 2 people from EB have to drop. The benefit, at least for Eternal Blizzard, was the health bar advantage. And in many cases, Vitagen, you would assume numbers advantage overpower health bar advantage, but I think understandably in the face of a Viego who can pick up 1 reset and turn the tide of any team fight, you don't want to play that risk, and unfortunately they do have to give up the dragon. I was surprised that they didn't contest anything or trade anything back on the cross map with the Baron buff, but unfortunately, yeah, EB, they get the soul, and Vitagen need to be careful of what's to come.
But hold on, there's a 3-man team
no.
ready and waiting in the midst here as Isaac is able to flash away here. The
Wait a
Enchanted
minute.
Crystal Arrow does connect, and so does the Charm. The Poppy is already down. So is the top lane on the side of EB. Who else is going to follow suit? Nobody at this point, but the Nautilus looking for a re-engage. And 5v5 is going to result in a 2 for 1 this time for the side of Eternal Blizzard. Are they done here, or is Isaac looking for an engage onto the side of VTG? They are not. They're looking to back here. This is a back and forth last game of this series here, Vosenix.
Yeah, well, I mean,
And they are stopping the instinct is going in. The Charm is not going to connect because Jomi is able to just sidestep it. And with that said, another 2 kills this time again for the side of VTG. This is a back and forth fight on and on here.
Please don't tell me he was recalling in front of their faces like that. I mean, we'll get the replay here. It initially starts off with a pick onto Jonathan Isaac, but there's a bit of a lack of damage, meaning that he could get the Heartbreaker out to safety. Enchanted Crystal Arrow onto the Poppy. Meant Ant was the first one to fall in the fight. Barakagama did pick that one up, got the reset, but then Captain on the Aatrox is just sustaining through so much damage, meaning that he is actually surviving for a long time. Enough time for Jomi to arrive. We don't get the rest of the replay, sadly, but it would have been nice to break down what happened afterwards. Because Jonathan Isaac, yeah, he was recalling in the mist, but unfortunately it timed out, and shocker, he's melee range against 2 Vitagen people in front of him, has to get caught. And it ends up being a trade, unfortunately, in a potentially team fight winning situation for EB.
Poor Harry. Barack Obama was really hoping to get that blue buff there for himself as well as his team, but unfortunately for him, Dutch was in the right place and the right time. and was able to snatch that away from them. This might be vital, as now all of these side lanes are looking to be split pushing into the Eternal Blizzard, as well as maybe the mid lane. But instead, we find ourselves 4 team members from Eternal already securing that pressure in the mid and looking for some vision around this river, as Baron is very slowly but surely now coming up. 28 minutes into this game, ladies and gents. Is this going to be the team fight that we need to see ourselves through with the series, as a ward is here? I don't think that Viego was aware of it. I don't think he knew what happened to him, as before he could even think about it, he goes down. That means a 4-man Baron is not going to be possible without their jungler here. Instead, VTG is turning it around. They've got the time, they've got their pressure. A couple of flashes down, but most of the carries on the side of Eternal Blizzard have them up. Is it gonna be the flashes they need? No, the Baron is secure. Horn is unfortunately not gonna be able to hit that charge. And the Baron is now secured.
Yeah, massive blunder from Jonathan Isaac. I mean, I don't know if he had the trinket at the time, but not checking if that bush was warded and trying to make a bush camp out of it was not the play. They get punished for it. They get the Baron. And this must feel so bad for EB. They were so far ahead of this game. We'll check out the replay here. You see the approach from EB controlling this top side because they knew that objective was there. He doesn't have the sweeper, and Ant was able to get that ward into the bush. So well played to Ant on the poppy. Like, seriously incredible intuition from the support of Vitagen, which set up that play, and it's Eternal Blizzard that's now in the face. And I go back to the point, they were so far ahead of this game. At one point, we were looking at a 4-0 Ari, 2-0 Viego. Fast forward, yeah, exactly. Fast forward to 30 minutes into the game, you did not expect this to happen. They got Cloud Soul so quickly as well, and we're now in a situation where, like, they are so far behind.
Looking for a pick, but actually he's going to get denied here by the Poppy, and the Soul just like that. Their Enchanted Arrow does connect with the Annie, who's very tanky, but at the looks of things, Balthazar is going to be able to get a couple of bits of bobs done on the map here with their Aatrox World Ender getting reset as well. So before they go down, they are able to secure themselves an almost ace, and with the Baron still available for the side of VTG here, this might just spell out disaster for Eternal Blizzard. Is Vitagen going to be able to get a few inhibitors here, or are they looking for a different scenario?
I think they're going to just take the Elder because they know they are confident to win out these fights. Elrat was the one who got caught out, but then your support gets caught out. Don't take the fight straight away. You're not going to win. Jonathan Isaac gets pinned to the wall by Ant, and then it's the rest of the fight that just collapses after that. And I have to commend Ant on this Poppy. Has looked like an absolute beast across these last 2 games, but I have to question the decisions from Eternal. How did you let the game get to this point with the lead that you had? What went wrong in the communication for you to create this scenario? You were winning on all fronts. You had 3 carries that were all having a massive power spike in terms of item builds, and now you've let the game fall out of your hands. You capitulated to a level where Vitagen are now in the driver's seat, and you are inches away from dropping 2 games against your rivals.
Maybe the spread's too thin, Southernix. Maybe those carries are just not enough to match the 5-man death squad on the side of Vitagen here. Beautifully done. 4 members down on Eternal, and therefore that allowed Vitagen to be able to split focus. 3 members going over for the push, 2 towers, 1 inhibitor down, and 2 members down in the Elder Drake pit, able to secure that objective here for themselves. With this now in the stat, and just being able to have that dragon. And look at this push. The mid lane is shoving in. The only thing they don't have going for themselves is the top lane pressure. But do they need it? With the Elder Drake already ticking here, they have all of the pressure they need to be able to establish even a further push down in the bot lane.
Yeah, I mean, they're in absolutely no rush here. They can just slowly push the waves in EB. They're in the face of it. One more team fight, and this game is over. I'm keeping my eyes on to see if Benjamin or Elrat can find that game-winning pick, but they're up against Elder Dragon. The waves are being cleared out well enough, but, I mean, it's approaching the end of the game, and there's one last team fight in it, in my opinion.
And I don't want to take anything away from Barack Ogama. He has been the sole carry for his team currently in this game. But is it just too big of a difference to not have your main ADC on the side of Eternal Blizzard? Is that what's happening here? Barack Ogama being the sub ADC on the previous game, now the mid laner for Eternal Blizzard being the ADC in this game. Is that the case here, or are they able to turn this around? The Keeper's verdict is gonna send the minions back to base. Off you go, and we push on. The towers is the only thing that is standing here, and this game very low. Hold on a moment, he's maybe gonna go down. A very good back and forth fight from Eternal Blizzard. The Aatrox is also going down. The Ashe is doing so much kiting. 3 members down. Kai'Sa has secured herself 1 kill here, and most likely Ari gonna be able to heal herself up in base now, but never mind, as the killer instinct is now casted. Jomi is looking for another kill. Benjamin looking very healthy. The barrier's gonna be able to do the trick, as well as the Zhonya. Barack Ogama's looking for revenge for his teammates. But it's not gonna be enough. We're not even done yet, guys. Balthazar has been able to TP into the base here. 1 Q kills the Ornn, and 1 Q kills the Annie. Barack Ogama is the last member standing here, and so is the Kai'Sa. Whew, what a team fight here. Still holding on.
I will not stand for any more disrespect on Jomi's name. Put some glory on this man's legacy, because he is showing up in this series big time on the Kai'Sa. The fight erupts. EB fight back up against that Elder Dragon buff really well. But watch Jomi on the kiting. It is the junglers that trade 1 for 1, but in the 1 versus 2 with the Zhonyas, almost takes down Benjamin, but in the 1v1 at a health disadvantage, completely styles on Rain D in an insurmountable fashion as the AD carry of Vitagen styles on his opponent, and it's just making his name in this series. The rest of the SLE, stop paying attention to this goddamn player, because he is showing up big time.
Absolutely, man. This might be the last replay we see in this series, as this is definitely the last game in this best of 2. 2 inhibitors down, 1 Baron up. Is it gonna be taken before the last tower falls in the Nexus? Or is Eternal Blade somehow a miracle run gonna be able to steal this Baron, which doesn't look like they're looking for at all? No Baron steal means no potential ace. Hold on a minute, I might eat my words here. Enchanted Crystal Arrow is gonna hit the Darkened Blade. Benjamin's looking for a 4v1, but so is Ant. Is it going to be enough? No, it's not. Benjamin is looking very low. Aatrox is gonna get killed. This is what they needed. Hold on a minute, a 2-man down. We've got ourselves a push in the mid lane. Yeah, this might just spell out disaster.
Benjamin just set back the backline of Vitagen completely, all in his lonesome, and even survived. They're going to TP into the mid lane. There is a Baron up Vitagen, but they're 3 members strong. EB are going for the end.
They are going for the end here. They still have 30 seconds on the death timers here. Hold on a minute. The Ashe is doing so much damage to these towers. A quick engage by Elroot, who's going to go down very briefly. Maybe spelled, maybe, you know, decided to do that one a little bit too prematurely. Instead, they're going to have to disengage. 1 member down now means the opposite. 5v4. The Enchanted Crystal Arrow, the Charm, and the Ari is gonna go down. A beautiful engage. And just like that.
TP.
The TP into the base! This is happening, guys! It's not gonna be what they wanted. Eternal Blades have been able to maybe do something about this, but the Aatrox
He's got it.
TP has arrived.
Oh my God.
BTG versus EB. This is a 2-0 for Vitagen. Well played, lads. Well played.
Jesus Christ, what an absolute game. I have to say, I mean, first of all, congratulations to both teams for putting up such a fight. But Vitagen, the way that they just showed tenacity to get back into this game was incredible. But EB, I have to throw a question mark. How did you let the game get to this stage? And it goes back to the criticisms of this roster. A lot of people coming into the split saw this team and was like, if Jonathan Isaac doesn't want to be 9 in the game, don't they just lose? And like, to be honest, this series, this was the first time I'd seen a team being able to just contain a carry like JI. And it showed the results spoke for themselves. Even if Barack Ogama was putting in a beautiful performance on the Ari, wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. And
Absolutely.
I mean, massive credits to Vitagen. I think the way this game ended, it could have gone either way. I think really big props to Captain for having the intuition to go for that back door. But yeah, I mean, holy hell, this was a series. This was a game. I think the game one was a little bit one-sided, albeit, but this last game, it could have gone any other way. But it is big congrats to Vitagen for being able to close this one out. And I mean, do you have an MVP for this particular game?
Oh, it has to be. It has to be. I'm sorry, but if just from the first game alone, the first game initially, I wanted to give it to Ant. I think he had great picks, even in the second game here with that Hextech Flash into the Viego, into the Nautilus River fight. I personally would give it to Ant.
Yeah, I think Ant definitely deserves a shout. I think I'm gonna give it to Jomi. This isn't even.
You're gonna give it to Jomi.
I think,
Love it.
I think there's always.
diff.
I mean, there's always a conversation around this player of he only plays Seraphine. He's not that good of an AD carry. He's nothing special. He's weak side. Blah blah blah. I think all that just got shoved into the bin. Whoever thinks that right now, shut the up and seriously take a look at reality, because this guy just put in a beast of a performance across both these games, and I think anyone disrespecting the name of Jomi moving forward needs to be put into a corner and face the wall for the rest of their lives, because that's just fake news, and this man is my MVP for this series.
Absolutely amazing, man. Jomi, of course, has not only constantly made sure that there was a ban of the Seraphine, but he didn't need that to be even a thing. He's got himself a pocket pick, and that was the Kaiser, the triple kills, the constant damage, the ability to be able to tank the damage on the side of Aatrox and somehow surviving those enchanted arrows time after time, and being able to just wreak havoc around the jungle area, just always making sure that nobody belongs in that place but him, was what made sure Vitagen pushed through all the way to the end and secured themselves a clean sweep, maybe with a few hiccups there and there. That Annie kill around the mid lane just before the Aatrox TP'd could have spelled out disaster, but the Aatrox was there to secure the day.
Yeah, I mean, what a game. Congratulations to Vitagen for being able to close this one out. Of course, it's a tragedy for EB that they have to lose this last game. I think they definitely played the early to mid game very well. They were deserving of a victory, but unfortunately, game's a game. They're going to have to drop this one, of course. I think that is it for us today. There are some games being streamed afterwards, but for now, it is a goodbye from me and Domain. I think the stream will go into a pause as we've got some newcasters taking over. So don't go anywhere. You're going to keep up to date with all the SLE action, as we will say goodbye for now. But
thank you very much, guys. Take care.
Do you wanna stay the night? Cause I don't wanna be alone. It's been weighing on my mind for too long, too long. Do you wanna save a life? Cause I just really need someone. I've been barely holding on, and I'm still running from my demons. I'm still hiding all my secrets, and I just need someone I believe in. slip away. And I surrender. I surrender. There's no more falling down. I've hit the ground. So I surrender. And I surrender. There's no more falling down. I've hit the ground. You don't owe me anything, but I believe that you can show me all the things that I've been needing. I'm just hoping you give me a reason to go on. And I'm still running from my demons. I'm still hiding all my secrets. And I just need someone I believe in. Will you wait for me while I'm still healing? You know what to say every time I start to slip away. And I surrender. I surrender. There's no more falling down. I've hit the ground. So I surrender. And I surrender. There's no more falling down. I've hit the ground.
Baby,